Good morning, Rick.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Megan?
I am doing well. Oh, let me put my phone on DND.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep. No worries.
Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining
I know,
me this
right?
week. It's week
Always
number
thanks.
6 that we've been doing this.
I lose track. That's
I
5 to
think
6,
so.
somewhere around there.
I know.
Right?
What day is it? Who knows, right? It just, here we are. It's like
Pajama
Groundhog
Tuesday,
Day.
depending upon what day. Yeah, right?
No
I
kidding.
know.
So I appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. And our goal is
That's
to,
cool.
educate the market, educate
Right.
buyers and sellers, and
Mm-hmm.
even, our peers,
Right.
and let them know what we think about things and how best
Mm-hmm.
to proceed in certain situations.
You bet.
So you and I always talk a little bit before the call, and we
Mm-hmm.
powwow and come up with the topics that we think need to be addressed, because this is an
Mm-hmm.
ever-changing situation.
That it
And
is.
one of the things that we were talking about was buyers out looking at houses, and
Mm-hmm.
you said that that you were surprised to hear that a lot of the buyers have to be approved and show
Right.
an approval letter before they will
Mm-hmm.
even get an appointment to see a house. And I said, well, absolutely, because as the California Association of Realtors, like, we really have to protect our clients and ourselves and protect
Right.
our profession and our integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to make sure that by the time we take a buyer in to buy a house, or to look at a house, I'm sorry, that they're
Mm-hmm.
about 90% sure that they're going to buy that house.
Right.
What I've been doing is requiring 2 forms that will come in before we will even show the house. So
Mm-hmm.
this form here, this
Okay.
is from the California Association of Realtors, and
Got
this
it.
is their best practices. And this is based off of the stay-at-home order from March 19th. And so basically, it talks about that all the showing should be done virtually as much as humanly possible, and that it kind of gives the rules about realtors and protecting yourself. And here, right here, here's the part I wanted to specifically show to you.
Okay.
Consider limiting in-person, non-virtual showings to serious potential buyers who are have provided verifications of funds and lender
Mm-hmm.
pre-qualification letters to show that they're able to purchase the property that is the subject of the showing.
That's a good idea.
No kidding. I mean, I
Right.
could actually keep this little change here forever, because
Mm-hmm. I like it.
there's certain companies that are online companies that have had to, cut their workforce by almost 50%.
Mm-hmm.
I won't name who it is,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't
Yep.
require that buyers are pre-qualified before they take them out and show them houses. And I think that that's just irresponsible.
It is.
It's, not really looking out for your client, because, I mean, you don't want somebody to fall in love with a house and not already have a clear understanding of what this is going to look like for them, finance wise. I mean,
Right.
before you find the house is the time to really use your brain and really comb through what a 30-year mortgage commitment is going to look like for you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there's another form I was telling you about that we have to have signed. So before we're showing houses, we have to verify that the buyers toured it online, that they've done everything virtual. And, we have 3D videos and we have all kinds of stuff. And the second form is called the Coronavirus Property Entry Advisory and Declaration. It's called a PED. And we
Mm-hmm.
have buyers and sellers, well, buyers, anybody actually that's coming into the house has to sign this form. And it just talks about that you promise to be really careful, and it explains what that is, and that going out is a risk. And anybody that comes in the house has to sign it. A home buyer, an inspector, anybody. And so,
good idea.
yeah, no kidding. So those are our requirements: approval letter,
Yeah, I
proof
like
of
it.
funds, and a PED signed.
Mhm.
And so you were talking about too that something that I thought was really important, because a lot of people are getting furloughed right now, and
Right.
you know, what's their situation with getting pre-qualified, because most of these people are going to be hired back again. Now they're at home and they have time to get all their paperwork together. I mean, what is this going to look like for them in the future when they get rehired?
Well, I think they're going to be fine, actually, Megan. So here's what's going to happen. We know the furloughs are not long-term. It's very short-term. I think in most cases, 30, 60 days at the most. So that gives buyers time during this time period to kind of get their paperwork in order and ready to go on the file. So once they get reemployed, or actually get back to work, not reemployed, but back to work, we'll just verify their updated paycheck stub and keep on going. So it really won't be a problem at all for us. It's just a matter of the timeline from when they get back to work. And I think in most cases, 30, 60 days at the most, from what I'm hearing when I'm talking to people. So it won't be a big deal. We can actually process their loan up to a full approval. When they get back to work, they're ready to go. So I don't think that's going to be a big deal at all.
Now,
What if
they end up changing companies and finding employment somewhere else? What does that look like?
Not much different. As long as they stay in the same line of work, in a similar pay scale, they're going to be fine. So most people, when they change jobs, they stay in the same line of work per se. They kind of stay in the same industry. So as long as they stay in the same line of work, they're fine there as well. As long as I can verify that they're back to work and employed, we're going to be fine with that. Yeah, it works fine.
I know that that what you and I have talked about really pushing is for buyers to get 100% approved.
Right.
100% approved before they go out looking. I know I used this back in December when we had an offer in on a property for a client, and there were lots of offers. It was really competitive. And you were able to give me the certificate of the buyer's approval. And can you tell us about what that program is?
Yeah, cool. It's a really good program. It's a seller guarantee program that we have here at Evergreen Home Loans. So here's what that means. So that means we've gone through all the validation of all the documents, the pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, and so on. And the underwriters actually underwritten that loan and validated and approved the file.
Yeah.
So once we do that, so most companies, as you all know, don't do that. They do what's called a DU, or an automated approval. That's the standard type of approval, if you will, for any kind of an offer. This takes that approval a lot further, in that we have now validated pay stubs, bank statements, pay stubs, and so on. So the cool thing for your buyers is when we have that validation or that full loan approval, we now guarantee that we'll close that buyer's loan. And if for any reason we do not close that loan, we're going to pay the seller $2,500. So it's like a guaranteed sale. So if someone loses their job, for example, let's say we go into escrow and we have that guarantee. If something happens and they lose their job, something crazy happens, we're going to back that up and pay that seller $2,500. So that puts your buyers in the best possible position against multiple offers, because we're still seeing multiple offers right now, believe it or not. So, and the biggest concern a seller has in any market, and especially right now in this market, is can your buyer actually close this escrow?
Right.
And so in that case, yes, we're guaranteed to close. So it puts your
that
buyers
really
in the best possible position. Yeah.
When I get offers in from buyers and I'm the listing agent, if there's a DU approval attached to it, a lot of times I'm thinking, what are they doing sending me this DU approval? Because it has a lot of privacy information on there. I don't even know if people should be sharing DU approvals. Okay. Then the second thing is that, a DU approval is like garbage, because all they, it's just, somebody's entering a bunch of numbers onto a program and then it's, spitting it
Right.
out. And what if they skewed the numbers? It's like,
Exactly right.
yeah.
Exactly, as you know. So the difference in a DU and our approval is the DU approval is not a validated approval in terms of the financials. We talked
Hmm.
about one over the weekend, right? They had a quote unquote an approval letter. My question was, did you get the financials? Did they verify the tax returns?
I couldn't
And the
believe
LO
it.
said, yeah, I don't have the tax returns.
I
Well, they were
couldn't
a
believe it.
self-employed borrower. How do you validate income without tax returns? That's not an approval,
Yeah, I
right?
appreciate you going through that with me. And,
Yeah.
the last thing I ever want to do under these circumstances or other
Mhm.
circumstances is have a house of mine fall out of escrow. It's actually
Right.
very rare that it happens. It's,
Right.
in these circumstances, there might be something that comes up that's beyond our, control,
Yeah, it
but
happens
anything
sometimes.
else is an amateur move, so we want to make
Right.
sure that we scrub through these people. And
Mhm.
it's not because we're trying to be difficult or that we're a bunch of meanies. It's because we're
Right.
trying to protect our clients. If I
Mhm.
represent the seller, I have the same intent for the buyer too. I want everyone
Right.
to
Sure.
action
Mhm.
and not take up too much of their time doing it, and
Right.
be real organized about it. So
For sure.
having that seller guarantee
Mhm.
approval is a fantastic tool. So if somebody's furloughed right now, can they
Mhm.
still get everything in so that as soon as they're back to work and you can maybe verify the first, what do you need, 2 paychecks or something
Just
before
the
they're ready?
first paycheck stub. To
Okay.
verify back to work, the first paycheck stub, we're good to go.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good
pretty
to know
simple.
because I do have,
Yeah.
I'm in Anaheim, and a lot of business I
Yeah.
have is in Anaheim, and a lot of people in
Mhm.
Anaheim work at Disney.
Yep.
So a lot of those people have been furloughed. So, but they want
Yeah.
to move. School's coming, the summer's coming. We've got a lot of work to do. So, and then we also talked about, you'd been running into some buyers that had sort of a
Mhm.
concerning approach to their negotiating process because they had the impression that there were going to be some price reductions,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
they expected that there would be a lot of foreclosures coming to the
Mhm.
market.
Mhm.
So you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great point, Megan. So here's what's happening. Forbearance is a big topic right now. It's all over the news, and so if a homeowner is really having challenges with their employment, they can't make their payments, take the forbearance. That's what it's
Yeah,
there for,
that's what it's there
right?
for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so don't shy away from that. Don't forget, it's not a forgiveness program. It's not a free program. You still have to pay that money back at some point. So, but I think what some buyers right now that are sitting on the sidelines are thinking in their mind, at least, is that there's so many people now going to be in trouble on their mortgages. They're all going to go into foreclosure. And I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you this much: that's not going to happen. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you why it's not going to happen. Our real estate market, our housing economy is way too important in this economy for the Feds to let that falter. They're not going to let it happen. So yes, there's going to be a lot of people in forbearance, but I can tell you right now, there's not a servicer on this planet that's going to kick people out of their house over
Mm,
forbearance. They're
that's
going to
right.
find ways to work that out.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, a loan servicer never wants to kick a buyer out of their house or borrower out of their house or a homeowner out of their house. It's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it's expensive. It's a lengthy process. And by the way, no one wins. And for some of the bigger services out there, last thing they want to have on the news is some family sitting in Anaheim going, my lender kicked me out of my house as I was unemployed for 2 months, and here I'm now going to be homeless.
Right.
They're not going to do that. They're
Right.
just not going to go there. And so if we get into a bigger challenge with this forbearance, I can almost assure you the feds are going to step in and give some relief on that forbearance and help those borrowers out, those homeowners out. I just don't see a path where we're going to see foreclosures in the market and then this market dropping. Again, the housing economy is way too important, and I just don't see a path to a lot of foreclosures. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. Most of the houses, the majority of the houses that we
Hmm.
deal with are between, 600 to 800,000.
Right.
And that's really the bulk of it.
Hmm.
And that market is so strong that,
It is.
you know, plus I think that most people So touching on that, that market's so strong, I
Uh-huh.
don't see any drop in housing value. If you're going over 1.5 million, you're probably
Mm,
dealing with a different
a little bit softer,
situation.
maybe. Right.
Yeah. So, but I don't see the prices dropping.
Mm-mm.
And I also think that like most of my clients for years and years and years,
Mm-hmm.
they have like a pretty big down payment. So
Right.
they've got some skin in the game. Plus
Mm-hmm. They
with
do.
housing, with the
Mm-hmm.
housing market, the value is staying pretty much the same. Why would they want to walk away? So anybody I think that's
They're
like
not.
thinking there's going to be some foreclosures around Orange County,
Right.
Southern California in that under $1 million price range,
Mm.
under 1.5, I think you're probably going to not, uh, that's not going to come to fruition. I agree with you
Yeah,
on
I agree.
that.
In fact, over the weekend, we had offers over the weekend I had over the weekend, 2 different offers, multiple offers on both properties, by the way, even in
Mhm.
this market. And they actually sold for more than asking price.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so now is the great time to buy a house still because rates are at historic lows. And for buyers that think they can, sit on the sidelines for 6 months, 8 months, a year and let this market kind of crash, they're going
Not
to,
going
in
to
the long
happen.
term, lose because I
Mhm.
don't think rates in the 6 or 8 months will be as low as they are right now. And I don't see that the housing prices are going to take this big of a drop either. And they're not going to drop, in my opinion. So,
Right.
and as we get to the other side of this curve with this pandemic, there's a pent up demand. There's a lot of homeowners that want to sell. They're just waiting to get on the other side of this pandemic. And there's lots of buyers that want to buy too. So I think once we get past this in the next couple of months, maybe sooner, the
Mhm.
market's going to take off in a huge way. I just
Yeah,
don't see it settling down.
I've got a pretty long list of people
Yeah.
that are sitting on the sidelines, and most of these people have
Hmm.
to sell and buy in the same
Right.
area. And
Right.
that's where I'm like, I don't know that it's the best advice for them to put their houses on the market right now. Not because I'm not confident about their house selling, but
Right.
because I really want them to make sure that they have a lot of choices for their purchase.
Hmm.
And I'm not
Right.
necessarily sure that that's there right now. I see it
Hmm.
in some areas, like Huntington Beach
Hmm.
is really bebopping along. Orange
Hmm.
is really, their inventory is just like incredibly shrinking. So
Hmm.
it's kind of specific to different areas, but
Right.
I'm checking every day, checking in on things, seeing how I can help them and what I can do. And that's
There
all
you
I
go.
can do
Yep.
until
Yep.
people feel safe to put their houses on the market and get things moving.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're almost there. I give it how long? Maybe a month or so. I think we'll be there.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking about a month.
Well, I predicted June 3rd. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds about right to me. I'll take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll
all
buy
right. Well,
that.
I appreciate your time today. I will spread the news that
Yeah, thanks, Megan.
if they plan on purchasing this year, even if they're furloughed, get the documentation in,
Yep,
get things
get it
moving.
going.
So when you
Get
get
ready.
back to work, we need one paycheck stub and we can get your approval.
Yep,
And that will be really great because it will be a competitive market when it comes back.
no doubt about it. Pretty excited about that.
I know, me too. I can't wait. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, Megan. Take care. See you
Bye.
later.